I had a brief conversation with Michael earlier this morning as I was walking into this room, and he said a statement which just stopped me in my tracks, which he said, most of the people in this room might not have engaged with a venture capitalist. Is that correct? Has anybody met a venture capitalist? One, two, and admit to it. Okay, maybe others who don't admit to it, but at least three have met. And I think Michael has met. At least there are about 40 people here, so that's a very small number. And maybe it's a good thing you haven't met us, because we're also known as vulture capitalists. And I'm not sure if that's for a good reason, but nevertheless, that's the folklore and that's the kind of perception we seem to carry, certainly in the Western markets. I wouldn't say it's deserved in the Asian markets. But that led me to think a little bit as to what should my presentation be. I mean, it's rather late in the day to talk about my presentation, but nevertheless, it's never too late to change. And I said, let's make this really somewhat more meaningful than maybe what I have in the slides here. We will revert to these slides just to let you know what venture capitalists do and where is the intersection between the government, the venture capitalists, and technology. And in particular, where is the sustainability coming from? Why is a venture capitalist dealing with sustainability? We are very far from it, if we are called a vulture capitalist particularly. Just to kind of put this whole thing into perspective, let me just take a minute to say who we are from the point of view of what do we do as a VC. We essentially fund businesses for profit. We are purely commercial guys. We are not in it for the love of humanity. We are not here because we want to create a sustainable world. We're not here for that. We are purely here because we've been entrusted with money by investors, including the ADB, mind you. The ADB is a significant investor in our fund. The developmental financial institutions are significant investors in our funds. The government is also an investor in our fund through their public sector organizations, such as the public sector banks in India, the insurance companies which are owned by the government again in India, the NABARD, which is the Bank for Rural and Agricultural Development, etc., are all investors in our funds. So why are they investing in us? We'll come back to that. But the main point is we are here for profit. We are not here for the measurability of sustainability or some other impact of that kind. But it happens, I believe, and I think that's the reason why people such as ADB invest in our funds, that an important byproduct of our profitable activity happens to be that there is some good coming out of it, and possibly a large amount of good, and possibly the kind of impact that ADB wants to see or you want to see in terms of rural development, sustainability, or minimization of greenhouse gases, etc., etc. So in essence, what do? We raise capital from typically from institutional investors, whether they're private or public or multinational, multilateral, high net worth individuals, all kinds. And we get this money for a period of time, possibly for about 10 years, typically 10 years extended by another year or two. And in that period, we are meant to invest this money in a way that is smart and create value for all our shareholders, which means for the owners of the companies that we back, for the investors whose money that we've been entrusted with, which are all the shareholders, and we get a small piece of the profit. And it's arguable whether it's small or big, but typically I can tell you it's small. And that's how we operate. And if we deliver a good return on these investments that we make, then these investors again come back and reinvest in our next fund. So that's we basically take money from institutions who have money and give it to people who don't have money. And we believe that the choice is not simply the choice of making or finding those companies or technologies or businesses, but it is also that we work with these companies to deliver value. The point being that, like a bank, a pure bank, will give you a loan as a business, and they get a fixed rate of return, meaning they get interest. It's fixed for the period of duration of the loan. But a venture capitalist, we are putting in money as equity. So if the company goes down, then our return goes down, our entire shareholding can go down. But on the other hand, if the value goes up, we can get higher than a fixed rate of return, and that's the whole idea. So there is meaning for us to actually add value and work with these businesses that we have invested in to help them grow. So that brings me to this point, the nice slide that Rajiv put up and Michael referred to, which was this triangular diagram with hardware, software, and orgware. So it was a very nice slide, and it is a very nice slide, Rajiv. But the point is, how do all these three things to come together? How do you make sure that the cutting edge technology and the know-how to implement it, then the organization to actually put it together, they need to come together through finance. Obviously, that's one of the glues. But there needs to be also somebody else who possibly has gone through such cycles of putting together these three things, who can work with these companies. And that would be the hand-holding that a venture capitalist can offer. So the VC can basically, I think at least, I'm of course being very self-serving in making the statement, I'm meant to be doing that, in saying that we're at the center of this. We can provide the money, we are putting our money at risk, and we provide the hand-holding, and so basically we are motivated to deliver by being in the middle of this triangle, because we put our money where our mouth is, and we don't make anything more than the entrepreneur does. And of course, when we make a piece of the profit that our own investors will make. So that's what we try to do. So if you still have questions on what we do, please feel free to ask at the later part of the session. And then I'll be happy to answer, but of course, even later on. So having said that, why the hell am I here in this sustainability conference? We're looking here to make money. So clearly, we think we can make money, which is obvious. And I must let you know on a small or a big secret, I guess, which is well known outside, but maybe not in this room, is that Suzlon, which is the 5th largest wind power company in the world and the largest in India, was also funded by a venture capital firm. Now, one might argue, let me not go into the gray shades of what is VC and what is PE and so on, but certainly they were also funded by such a firm, and they made a huge return. And they invested in which years, Chintan? Which year do you recall?
It was 2003.
2002. That was already on the upward slide. I thought it was in the late 90s. I might be mistaken.
2002, 2003.
So,
Chris Capital and Citicorp.
right. So this outfit called Chris Capital and Citibank's venture capital arm were the ones that invested, and they've been laughing all the way to the bank since then. But the question is, was it an obvious thing that this was going to succeed? I do not believe so. There are enough challenges. It is not a given as to, I really need to understand why the wind power initiative in India succeeded so well, why the waste to energy is such a dismal failure in India. We can take any number of other meaningful areas which make sense for India from the point of view of energy and energy security. Forget just renewable energy. We just don't have energy. I mean, there's a huge shortfall. And renewable energy is one of the most quickest ways to actually get this energy gap shortened. And we don't do it. And the economic benefit to the country is very obvious, and we don't do it. So the point I'm making is, so Suzlon was one of the, so where is sustainability coming into this? So just to give you the answer, a quick, short answer, we believe that at least we as a fund manager, and there are different funds which will essentially invest at different stages of the business. There was that nice cycle that Rajiv had put up about innovation and technology and the early adopters and so on. We certainly invest in the early stages of the game. We are not in the later stages of the game where the impact is obvious. But we look at innovation in two different ways. We look at technology innovation and we look at business model innovation. Both are very important because, again, one thesis that we have, it's not a thesis, I think it's a well-known fact, that there is enough technology that's being developed around the world, and if you simply implemented those technologies, you would make, I mean, you would take away the sustainability issue. You would have agricultural efficiency in India quadrupling overnight. You would have energy consumption going down, maybe by 50% overnight. But it doesn't happen. So the reason, so there are business model issues. There could be, of course, regulatory issues. There could be some financing issues and so on. But certainly the point I'm trying to make is we look at both technology innovation, we look at business model innovation, and we back both of these. And our belief is that by backing sustainable technologies or businesses that have a sustainable, improved sustainability of life and business and so on in the world, have huge economic potential. And similarly, we also believe that looking at businesses that target in a nice way, the semi-urban and the rural markets have again huge economic potential. We also believe, this is again as a fund, that businesses that target or provide services to SMEs again have huge economic potential. These are all maybe sweet spots for the public sector, for the government, for the multilateral agencies. But as a venture capitalist, we're doing it because others aren't doing it. When I say others aren't doing it, the other private sector companies don't do it as much. So other venture capital funds are not doing it as much. So we've carved out a niche for ourselves, and that's our whole approach. Now I'm talking about Venture East as a fund manager. We have carved out ourselves, saying that these are areas, if we build companies which can gain early leadership, then we can actually go and, make good economic returns out of this. Just a few slides on ourselves, 2 slides, and then we go on into, a couple of more slides where we'll talk about, so maybe perhaps how does the public sector and the policy makers, et cetera, can interact with VCs, and what's the meaning of, or is there a possibility of a public-private partnership in this game which can actually add value to the kind of initiatives that are doing. And there could be more discussion. I don't really have slides for all those, but they could be just discussions. So we're known as Venture East. We're a venture capital fund. We operate a number of funds. Just very briefly, we're very much an India-focused fund manager. We do have investments we make which are overseas, but they have to have a strong India angle. They must have the ability to either maybe the market or production or something is in India. Very focused on India's needs with a strong emphasis on needs of semi-urban and rural markets and the SMEs. We've enabled over 70-odd businesses. We've been investing since 1997. We invest in clean tech, IT technologies, life sciences, and other innovative sectors. One of the key things, and I make this point, this is again our approach, this is our strategy, if you will, as to how do we differentiate ourselves as a venture capital fund manager in the market as we attract funds from either ADB. ADB incidentally picked it as one of the 2 funds out of 40-odd funds in Asia that were looking to be positioning themselves as clean tech funds. So we also happen to be India's first public-private partnership as a venture capital fund. We privatized back in the 90s, mid-90s, a fund from the state of Andhra Pradesh called APIDC Venture Capital Fund. And this was the first time ever, this is the very early days when the World Bank was the largest investor in that fund. This was privatized through a privatization process, and we won that bid. We also have created the first R&D institution-linked fund, where we work with an R&D institution, in this case, the IIT Madras, Indian Institute of Technology Madras, one of the leading engineering institutions, if you will. There's a group there called the TENET Group, which focuses on technology and telecommunications for the masses. Now, in fact, we're on to a second fund there. And it has a number of investors, including Google, who are investors there, very much focused on technologies that can, one of the original missions of the TENET Group was to make every household in India be able to have a telephone. And now that's a reality. I'm not suggesting that Tenet Group was entirely responsible for it, but we started investing in this space right from the late 90s. We're also India's first life sciences fund called the APIDC Biotechnology Venture Fund. We've invested in medical devices, in new drugs. Again, very challenging space because India doesn't inherently have a large focus on, have a wherewithal in biotechnology. So we created a number of cross-border companies between US and India, Europe and India, which could actually do that. 5 minutes, okay. So go on, so on and so on. The last one is, of course, the first India's first focused clean tech fund called the Venture East Life Fund, which is where ADB is invested. I will just quickly move to the next slide. This is just to give you a smattering of, is more focused on clean tech, maybe may not be sustainable, but nevertheless, just to give you a flavor of the kind of investments we participated in. Renewable energy generation, Bharat Light and Power. It's just a basic, straightforward wind power and solar power aggregator. They do business with Chintan's company, Suzlon. We also invested in, and we did this from ground zero. There was a zero revenue company. We went and backed this company. We believed that this is a company that could deliver and build renewable power producing production in a much smarter way than others could. We're already at about 160 megawatts. Renewable energy device, Intellizon is solar devices, but while this company designs devices, the most interesting thing is they have a financial model for enabling people in the villages finance their solar lanterns or their solar UPSs. Because we believe that financing was the primary reason as to why solar devices don't get sold, even though they're economically viable. Very clearly, if you measure over a time frame of 12 months to 24 months, any solar device is viable. But moving on, we've invested in possibly now the largest organic food company called Shrestha. The product brand name is called 24 Mantra. It's there in almost all the major supermarkets. We also invested in a company called Rope, which makes products from banana fiber, etc., were sold in places like Walmart, IKEA, etc. Water Sustainability is a company that basically builds water projects, water supply, irrigation projects. Richcore, they have enzymatic solutions for effluent treatment. They treat waste in the paper plants, power plants, and nuclear, and in petrochemical plants. Evolva, this is a company that creates new technologies on how to make existing drugs, which are made through a lot of waste and effluents in a biological way, and therefore having less waste than others. Orca, now this is something you would never think of. They make power efficient chips. They're designing chips for the 4G telephone, which will be the latest telephone, which are hugely power consuming. And making a chip that would actually let them use much less power, basically our battery life would be twice as long or thrice as long than what you have. So the point again being, so the range of technology, I just wanted to get a feel for the range of technology and where do we operate and what were the size. Some of these this is basically again a pre-revenue company. There is no product yet when we invest. On the other hand, this was a post-revenue, post-profit company, it's Shrestha. There is services, there are already products in the market. So we go from total risk to maybe some moderate risk. But the idea is throughout all this, the underlying theme is we believe we can make money. I think the only point I want to make, which is not on the slides, I just want to make the one slide to show you that we look at sustainability very seriously. I don't want to make all this. Basically, this is our approach towards sustainability. We measure, we do of course, our IRR calculation to see whether we'll make money. That's a different matter. We look to see on every investment, is there a significant impact on sustainability and greenhouse gases in that particular business? Number two, is it scalable? Meaning, is it a technology that is only used by that company, or will they be able to sell that technology to others and therefore expand it all over the world? And is there a huge scale effect on the technology from the point of view of sustainability and GHG? Most important, we also try to measure what's the bang for the buck in terms of sustainability or in terms of minimizing GHG emissions. These are very serious measures, and I've had some calculations there. I'm going to where we calculate and we show you is the bang for the buck in terms of solar, wind, and biogas, and different projects that we've invested in. But the main point, anyway, is that we take this business of sustainability fairly seriously because we believe that's important to be, again, differentiated. We believe that also will have long-term economic value for our business, for our shareholders, and of course, as a side benefit to the society. And I do believe that there's a number of public-private partnership possible. The only point I can make there is that we put our money where our mouth is. We are not there to take either a handout from the government or we put our money to risk and we work with the entrepreneurs to make technology be disseminated, be used, be applied, and basically have the impact be affected to the community and the society at large. Thank you very much.